I kind of want it lined up here so I can run wire.
So we're going to continue the grapes this way?
Yeah.
And you want to post right there?
Well,
or where you can get it?
Yeah, basically wherever it can be lined up, kind of, sort of. I'm not exact here.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. I moved it back this way a little bit.
Okay.
Because it's okay. It's not going to...
Chances are we're going to hit rocks the first couple times.
I know, we'll have to, right?
Well, we got all these briar bushes and grapes kind of trimmed back out of the area, out of the way. and we've got all this weed whipped into submission all the way down here, basically down to the creek's cliff edge here pretty well. Essentially, we're talking about 2,000 square feet of weed beds that we have to deal with every single spring. So this is going to be really nice. We picked up a big stack of cardboard at a local store, that their stock room, that they were going to recycle anyway. We're going to split these open and lay these out here like we did up in this section. And then I know we're going to run out of this landscape fabric, but we have a little bit of a roll left here. So we'll get the cardboard kind of spread out through here the best we can, as far as it goes anyway. And then we'll keep going with this black landscape fabric, but clearly we're going to need to buy some more to get it all the way down to the cliff over there. So anyway, that's what we're working on. Well, I ended up taking out a lot more of these blackberries in this back corner than I had kind of originally planned. They just kept going. There's like never a good stopping spot, because as soon as you cut one, you see 3 more big ones, and I got to get those out of there. So let me flip you around and show you what I got done. So yeah, I got this big old pile cut out of this corner, and like I said, it just kind of keeps on going and going. Kind of opened up a new little view spot down here at the creek, though. I didn't really see that much before with all this stuff here. Not that we hang out in this corner much. Now we've got a pretty good straight wall kind of grapes and blackberries. We're trying to preserve the grapes. They look nice, they give you some good cover, and we're trying to cut all the blackberries out, but trying to encourage the grapes to keep growing. And Jody likes to snip those for arrangements and stuff. So yeah, we're doing pretty good on getting this cardboard and plastic down up here. Hi, sweetie. Good job.
I got it over here too.
You got
I did a strip between the wood pile and the shed that I need to put plastic down.
Take a look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. So
and I nailed it down with our big giant spikes until I get some more, because I ran out of
right.
materials.
So between the shed and the firewood stacker here, She got that all down so we don't get a bunch of weeds growing up through
And
there.
that's going to all be gravel.
That'll all be gravel there.
All around the wood shed, the wood
Yep.
holder. It's all going to be gravel, and then I'll do some type of dividing line to do just some mulch, just to hold it in a little
Cool.
bit. Yeah.
So it's going to be all cardboard around the whole firewood stacker, then ground cloth, then gravel, and then this all out here will be mulched with nice mulch all the way down to the cliff edge here. And yeah, great start. I mean, 3 days ago, this was just a wild jungle, and now it's coming together really nice, and it's going to make it a lot easier in future years. Excuse me. It's going to make it a lot easier in future years to deal with this whole area.
Yeah.
It's a big area to have to, when the weeds get taller than you, it's a lot to come back and combat. So that'll be nice.
Yep, I'm excited.
Quick note for future Doug: put on some long sleeves before you play in the blackberries, because backs of my arms and both arms got pretty ripped up. So this steel table is probably 5 years old. The chairs and the table are both in actually pretty good shape, but there's some rust developing. This is like powder coated, not painted. So it's kind of a plastic coating on it. But what's happened is it's got rust somewhere around these edges and even out in the field a little bit in spots, and like this. And I'll show you why. So this seam here, where the table border meets the flat sheet metal here, water can get down in there, and once it gets down in that little gap, it just starts rusting and then gets underneath the powder coating. Then the metal starts to rust underneath the powder coating, and so so you'll see a little rust spot, but by the time you hit it with the wire brush on the drill, this thing here, it'll start to spread, and that's because there's actually more rust underneath the powder coating than you can see. Usually it gets all bumpy looking, and then that's where you know you got a bad spot, but it'll continue to grow as you come out and come out and start working on that. It'll kind of grow until it finds where it's actually fully adhered and there's no rust underneath it. So what I'm going to do is just hit all the spots with this wire brush, and then I'm going to use an industrial grade, kind of a commercial seam sealer product that's paintable, kind of like caulk, only it cures really, really hard. It's a polyurethane, and we'll cut the tube tip pretty small. We'll come in and do a nice little bead that we can put it right on this seam all the way around the whole table, and we'll kind of smooth that out. But before we do that, we'll probably just kind of touch sand these little rough spots where we're going from metal back to the powder coat, just to kind of feather those out. Then we'll hit it with some flat black primer just to put a rust preventative on top of the metal, and then we'll come in and seam seal that around the whole thing. And then once that's cured, we can kind of come in and rattle can the whole top of this oil rub bronzed color with Rust-Oleum, and I think it'll look like almost a brand new table again, and probably last another 5+ years. So that's the plan for the day. So this is what it looks like after it's been ground down with the wire wheel and sanded. I like to kind of sand wherever the steel stops and the powder coating begins. I like to feel if I can catch my nail on it it's too tall, and you need to keep sanding that until it feathers down to the steel, because if you just leave a really tall ridge there where you can catch your nail, it'll really show up through the paint. So I take a little extra time to feather all those areas down and make them look all nice and feathered to the surrounding area. Now it's ready for a good old shop backing on the whole thing, and then I got to come in and prime all these bare steel areas before we do our edge seam sealing. Prepping. I'm not going to be painting the legs. The legs are fine. There's no rust on those. And the color I'm painting the top is a good enough match to the legs that we're going to let that roll. So I'm just going to kind of go around the edge with my masker and mask off the legs so we don't get overspray on them. I'm not worried about getting overspray on the deck. I got to pressure wash this deck in a little bit today or tomorrow, and we're going to repaint this. We've got some paint that's the same as it's on it. We're going to put a fresh coat of paint on this deck because there's areas where the paint's lifted. So I'm not really worried about getting overspray on the deck. Jody just cut some fresh mint out of the yard and put it in these glass bottles. Put it up on the porch. It smells so good. And these are looking pretty nice too down here. So what are we doing over here?
I'm going to hack this iceberg rose down, and I'm going to be aggressive with my cutting, and it should be fine because they're like a weed.
Like down to the ground, huh?
Not all the way to the ground, but pretty close.
Well, I know somebody that'd probably be interested in eating that.
I know.
Let's hack it and then we'll take it over.
Okay, goat candy. I'm just doing my first cuts, and then I'm being aggressive. They smell yummy, but I didn't clip it up like I should have at the beginning of the season.
Are these daisies? What are these?
Yeah, those are crazy daisies.
Crazy daisies. Boy, they're about ready to
Yeah,
explode,
they're
aren't
gonna
they?
explode, yeah. That's one of my very favorite. But you have these. Unfortunately, I need to pick flowers that you don't have to stake up. But a candy. Oopsie, there you go. I'm gonna go down here now. Hi, sweetie. Come on.
Well, we just got back from a little joyride. Another bargain furniture find on Craigslist this time. And if you've seen the video when we finished the sunroom in here, we didn't really have the furniture we wanted. There was something we wanted for this window wall so we could look down at the creek in the morning and have coffee, which is a couple of small swivel chairs. They can't be too big because the room's not that big, but we wanted a couple swivel chairs that we could turn this way to be part of the room and conversation, but in the morning Jody and I could flip them around easily, spin them around, and set our coffee on the windowsill there and have a nice cup of coffee and look out the window and some comfy little chairs. So yeah, I've been watching every day or two. I'm pretty religious. Go on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and punch in my keywords and see if anybody's got anything new up there. And we missed out on a couple of good deals that came through, but this one worked out. We'll show you what they look like in a minute. We're moving some stuff out of here so we can put them where they go. They're like new. One's actually new in a box, and the other one looks like it just came out of the box, so that's cool. But I gotta still get the box out of the car, bring that in. Jody's moving stuff, and then we'll get them going.
Yummy. Thank you, love.
You're welcome.
First. I put them close enough.